Hey guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project 365, episode 331. Today what we're talking about is instrument-assisted soft tissue manipulation. That's a whole big mouthful. But basically what we're talking about is how do we treat our tissues using something besides our hands. Now this past weekend, I got to spend some time in the Super Regionals, and it's the first time I actually seen athletes treating themselves with an instrument of some kind. I mean, since the patent of other instruments that assist soft tissue mobilization, since the patent has come up, there's been a whole bunch of different companies that have exploded into the market. This is one of the instruments that we use. But the thing is that I see a whole bunch of people using these, and now that they can use them, they're using with zero instructions at all, right? Except for maybe what they might see on YouTube. So my idea here is just to give you a brief overview of how I like people to use soft tissue instruments, all right? Like I said, there's many different kinds. First things first, let's talk about the instruments themselves when you see them, right? All instruments will have a bevel on them, right? So you're either going to have a concave surface or a convex surface, right? The concave surface provides less treatment intensity, right? Because it's not as focal. It'll allow more of the tissue to be collectively taken together, right? Whereas if you go to the concave or convex side, it's going to be more pointy. It's almost like making a point, just much shallower, right? So you're still going to have increased tissue or increased treatment intensity. The second thing is that we always want to have the instrument at an angle. We don't want the instrument to be straight up like this. We want to be able to bring it at an angle, okay? The third thing is we want to make sure that we're using some type of lubricant. This is a synthetic beeswax, okay? You're going to notice that I'm doing my forearms. There's two reasons for that. The first one is we just did a rope climb test yesterday, if you guys have been following along. Secondly, this is an easy thing for us to treat. Our forearms are something that are really easy to self-treat, and something that we should self-treat in between competitions, because if we can flush those and we can get all that metabolic debris out of there, then it's just going to lead to improved performance down the line, right? So here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to put the instrument at a 30 to 45 degree angle, and we're going to start just kind of like squeegeeing, if you would kind of think of it this way, is like pull, release, except I don't actually take the instrument off of the arm, but there's more pressure on the upstroke than there is on the drag back, right? If you ever use the mop, or I'm not a mop, if you ever used a broom, and the way you kind of like use a push broom, that's what we're thinking about. Now, there's two types of strokes at which we're going to concentrate on today. Okay, there's what we're going to say is kind of like a hunting stroke or a scanning stroke, and we're taking these big, broad, light strokes, and we're looking for areas of intensity, right, or areas in sensitivity. And as we find those, in my case, mine's over here. We could take shorter, deeper strokes, right, and they'll just look like this. You're also going to notice that what I did is I also increased the amount of pressure. Now when I say that, that doesn't mean that we're going to make those bloody, weird videos that you see on YouTube where the guys like rip each other's skin off. That's not the idea at all. Yes, sometimes you will get some bruising and what they call petechiae, but that has nothing to do with it. That's not your intention. Your intention isn't to make your buddy's arm bleed off, okay? It should just be to break down that tissue, and you'll feel that it'll go from a very rumbly sensation to a smooth sensation. And if you get to the point at which you start getting that petechiae response, or those little tiny red blood vessels, that's going to signify the end of that treatment, okay? So this is just a quick way in which I'm going to scan. Oh, I found this one spot right here. So now I'm going to do a little bit shorter, deeper strokes. And I feel that kind of like melt away, so I'm going to move on to a different spot. And I just work my way around and encompass the entire forearm, okay? So, again, just to recap, this is our idea. We have an instrument that has a beveled end. We want to put the instrument on a 30 to 45 degree angle as it contacts the skin. The goal is not to create these big, huge welting bruises, but it's to help move that tissue and break up that tissue. We do that with first a scanning stroke or a hunting stroke, and then once we find an area of increased intensity, we spend some time over that, no more than 2 to 4 minutes. If we get that petechiae response, we're done with treatment there. If we can cut that sensitivity in half, we are also done, right? We move on to the next spots. That's how we start to use instruments to self-manipulate our tissues to increase recovery. Guys, hope that helps you out on this Friday. Until tomorrow, we are optimizing function to optimize performance.